Hi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then sit back, relax, have a cup of coffee or tea and enjoy. It's been a while since I made a video like this, and while my last few videos were good and I did enjoy making them, they weren't exactly my style. I simply liked but not loved them. My first two videos are my favorite and they represent who I am the most. Those videos also happen to be the ones doing the best on my channel. And I'd like to think that it's because of all the evident love I put into them and all the hard work. So it's great to be making something like that again, and I hope that you feel the same way about it too. I didn't exactly have a plan for today's build, and I didn't even look at any inspiration photos. I just wanted it to be spontaneous and random. But I guess that in one way or another, subconsciously, it's inspired by a few things. For example, the houses that I saw in the animes that I grew up watching, and all the video games I played, all those timber-framed magical townhomes that I dreamed of living in. I guess that the randomly stacked rooms on top of each other are inspired by the Burrow, which is the Weasley family home in Harry Potter, and which I absolutely love. If I ever designed a dream house, I think that it would very much look like this one, especially on the outside. It's so old, so magical, so full of personality. I'd like to mention that the next soundtrack is from my favorite childhood game, Dark Cloud 2 or Dark Chronicle, and it's one of my favorite soundtracks ever, so I hope that you love it as much as I do. This soundtrack is titled Flower Garden, and the next soundtrack is a different variation of it called Garden of Memories, and I thought that they would be perfect for creating the garden in this cottage. This soundtrack played whenever you stepped out of this huge palace into this most beautiful garden I ever laid eyes on in a video game, one that you take part in creating. I remember that I used to stop and just listen to the music every time. It makes me sad to see how underrated that game is, but it will forever be my favorite video game of all time. So I just wanted to say that I'm glad to be able to share some of this love with you, and maybe one day I'll be able to make a video about this video game so that more people will see how amazing it is. The more landscaping I do, the more I realize how much I love it and enjoy doing it. In fact, I can't believe that I used to hate it before. I can even say that I almost love it as much as I love decorating the house. This corner here is probably my favorite part of the garden. I absolutely love how it turned out. Unfortunately, that bench isn't functional. Ever since I updated the game, a lot of things seem to stop functioning, and with no obvious reason. For example, that bench and this table with the chairs, she also can't sit on it for some reason. I didn't have these problems before I updated the game, but I don't know what changed. It's sort of annoying. The outside of the house is almost complete, finally. I have no idea how many hours this took me to make. It took ages. There is just this little balcony area which is very cute, and then I'm going to move on to the inside. inside of the house is way too colorful for me, but I wanted to create a contrast between the interior and the exterior of the house. So the exterior is pretty dark and mostly black and gray and white, and then the interior on the other hand is very colorful. I went very crazy with the colors. Plus, the main focus of this house is, as I mentioned in my previous video, the Paranormal Stuff Pack plus the kits, which I recently just got, and that pack has so many good colors that I just couldn't miss out on a chance to use pretty much all of them. The kitchen was supposed to be in that other small room in the back, which later becomes the bedroom, but then I realized that it would be too small and there would be way too much wasted space in this area right here, and there isn't a place for a bedroom, so I changed up the layout a lot, and I'm still not 100% happy with how the kitchen turned out, but I guess it's all part of the randomness of old magical homes. Feelings I wanted this build to evoke are nostalgia and longing. Well, for me at least. It's not just the house itself, but also the music. And video game soundtracks are perfect for that. Most of these soundtracks I grew up listening to, and they take me back to that beautiful time in the past, so I hope that they evoke the same kind of emotions in you as well. This soundtrack, for example, feels like home to me because it played whenever you're inside a home in Dark Cloud 2, and it just feels so cozy and safe. All the rooms in this house are too small and tight, but I prefer that over big and spacey mansions. I just adore little cluttered spaces filled with all sorts of antiques, precious items, collectibles, memories, and love. This is the final room, which is what I'd like to call the divination room. I wanted it to be more spooky and gothic, unlike the rest of the inside of the house. Well, this concludes this speed build, but please stay a little more so I can give you a tour of the whole house. And also I prepared this little short movie montage thing in the end, which I think turned out really cute, and I really want you to see it and give me your thoughts on it. So yeah, enjoy. Okay, so here's the first person tour and my sim, who's very cute and needs to go to the bathroom. Let's ignore that. And please enjoy the rest of this tour, and don't forget to check out the short movie thing I mentioned earlier in the end.